Hello, everybody. How are y'all doing? I hope everybody's doing good. I hope everybody's had a good weekend. Let's see. Let me get over here. Hello, Millie. Love you big. And we got Miss Sarah, Miss Janice. Hey, Blue Eyes. Hope you're doing good. You've been on my heart. Let's see. All right. Hi, Sin. How are you? I hope everybody's done well. We have had some rain today, and that starts the next 8 days of 80 to 100% chance of rain. So here we go with the rain again. But I guess we went long enough without it, so here we go again. But I hope everyone is staying dry as well as you can be. Okay, so I got something I want to tell y'all about. We had the conversation about the corn silk extract. Do y'all remember that? Well, I got some. And when we were talking about it before, it was good for my kidneys. So I'm all about it. I'm going to go get it. And then the conversation went to vodka. And I was like so confused. I have to have vodka to do this. And so, did I get the vodka? Well, let me tell you, you don't need the vodka. And I had asked, how do I take this? And I don't remember who it was, but they told me just to take it. So I'm thinking, okay, a couple of drops, swallow it, be done. So that's what I did. And let me tell you, corn silk extract, I swear, has vodka in it. That stuff burned my throat, burned the back of my mouth. I thought I was going to have to just lay down and die. It was so, so, so strong. And then I got to reading up on it, and you're supposed to put it in a glass of warm water. I was like, oh my gosh. I tell you, the back of my tongue was scorched. It hurt so bad. It was hilarious. And I was like, oh, that's where the vodka came in. So I don't know, but it is potent. So I had to tell you guys about that. Hey, just me, Alan. Thanks for being here, y'all. I really appreciate y'all. So yeah, if you get corn silk extract, do not put it straight in your mouth. And it actually smelled like corn. I was really impressed because it really actually smelled like corn. But I just was like, oh, I just put a whole dropper in there and went to swallow it. And I was like on fire. And my boss was like, do you need to go home? And I was like, ah. That's all I could do. So, oh, it was it was already mixed. Yes, Janice, I swear it was already mixed. Lord help me. Yeah, so I had to tell y'all about that. I was like, what in the world? So don't buy vodka extra. Just buy you a little bottle of that corn silk extract. Woo. I haven't tried it yet with the warm water. I'm not a big warm water friend. Not a big friend of warm water. So, anyways, I want to talk since, hey, I got my car unlocked and I got my little notepad here. So, the next morning, I told everybody how my car got locked out and everything. But the next morning, I woke up and I was like, hey, wait a minute. I have OnStar. After all of that running around, headache, looking through the storage, trying to find the extra key, all I had to do was call OnStar. So, no, no, Blue Eyes, it is not appetizing. Ugh. But, anyways, I made an effort and I will maybe try again. So, I don't know. Anyways, um, I want to talk about Katie and Chris because going back through and listening to everything that they've said, you can't help but wonder, are they making up a story, or is it something where you have to decipher what they're saying, or is it actually the truth? Because with them, I think there's a little bit of truth in what they're telling us. And I may be wrong, but hi, Sue. But I'm going to give some questions out. Just throw some questions I've got. And then I'm going to start with some statements that they've made. So just kind of keep these questions in your mind as we go through all this. So I wonder if Chris called Katie, or Chris and Katie on the phone. I wonder if Chris called the sheriff so that Katie's location would not be tracked. I kind of wonder about that. And I also wonder, did Chris call the sheriff because he could call his friend's cell phone? So those two things have been a big question in my mind. And then Chris said he stopped working when he got a call, and he talked to Katie for a good while. And then he had to get someone to take his place before he could leave. But his words were he had to stop working and make phone calls to find someone to come in. Guys, if you stop and think about that statement, Chris was actually at work at 5 o'clock in the morning. They didn't start work till 7 o'clock. This phone call from Katie was at 6:03. They were not working. They were not at work. They were not doing anything. So why did he have to stop work if they hadn't started working? So that's a huge question. As Katie tells a story, and I'll bring it up here in just a little while, we'll talk about it, her words. But as she's talking about looking for Sebastian, I wonder, why does Katie never say she looked in the backyard? Katie said she looked all through the house, couldn't find him. She called Chris, or she got in her car, then she called Chris. So why would she not look in the backyard? Because if they had puppies, the puppies go in the backyard to go to the bathroom. So maybe he took one of the puppies out or something. That would have been my thought. But she never mentions the backyard. Why does she have to think so hard when asked a question about describing Sebastian? What's he like? What do you want to tell him? Those kind of things. Katie has to think really hard. It's always, well, and she kind of puts it off for a minute. Now, Chris does say that Sebastian likes to fish a lot, but we've heard Seth say he likes to fish and he'll go fishing, but Sebastian doesn't care about fishing, so he will sit and play on his game. So who are we supposed to believe? He's not crazy. Hey there. Thanks for being coming by, joining us. Appreciate you. Okay, so guys, Chronicles of Olivia, she did a wonderful job. And I was listening to her interview with them and started writing down some things. And there was a search on the Cumberland River. Okay, this is not Chronicles of Olivia yet. But there was a search on the Cumberland River, 20-mile search with sonar, and items of interest were found. But we know those were not related to Sebastian. And Seth is the one that did that search. And a lot of people are, questioning, why is he doing that? Why is he searching the river with the sonar? But you have to stop and think, as time goes by, that's a search that has to happen. Now, when Olivia says, take me through that morning, that day. And hey, Smiley, thanks for being here. Hey, Karen. Thanks for being here. I'm so lucky to have you all with me tonight. Thank y'all. But now Katie starts out with a fun fact. Fun fact. She made breakfast that morning. A fun fact. And she laughs about it. Why would it be so funny? Is that something she does not do normally? Does she normally not make breakfast? Which, don't get me wrong, I'm not bad mouthing her about that. I am not dogging her, because we all as mothers know how busy life gets. And if they can just grab a Pop-Tart, a bowl of cereal, something like that, and go on your way, breakfast is not on our list of cooking every morning. But she did say, fun fact, I made breakfast. And then she laughs about it. And so I'm wondering, did she make breakfast because she thought maybe that would be his last breakfast she would make with him? Did she already know something? As Katie is telling her story, Chris would shake his head yes. As if, yeah, that's how it went. That's what happened. But she would be telling a story and Chris would be sitting beside her And he would be shaking his head. Is he telling Katie, yes, keep going, you're doing good, stick to the story? Is he saying yes because he was actually there and he remembers? I just, I don't understand that communication between the two of them when it comes to this story. Hi, TJ. Now at 9 p.m., Katie says, I send him to bed. 11-ish, she hears a noise. Now, we all know that Sebastian, being autistic, and he has his special little quirks and issues. So he does take medication. We know that he takes the medication to help him sleep. So if she gave him medicine to go to sleep at 9 p.m., 2 hours later, that child would be asleep. Come 11 o'clock, that child would be asleep after taking his medication if he took it before he went to bed. That has always stood out to me. Hey, Dreamer, thanks for being here. So, yeah, at 9 p.m., he goes to bed. 11 o'clock, she's hearing a noise. That child should be asleep because of the medicine he takes. Probably takes about 30 minutes for that medicine to kick in and him to go on to sleep. And that particular medicine will put him to sleep. So when 2 hours later, she hears a noise, but yet she doesn't go into his room to look. I find that very neglectful because, yeah, Smiley, did he take it? Did he even take it? But I'll tell you, if he did take it, he would have been asleep before 11 o'clock. So if she heard a noise and that child had taken that medicine, you know he's going to be asleep. So why does she not get up off her ass and go in there and check on that child? So, Seth did confirm with us that Sebastian did take medicine to go to sleep. He did say that because he had such a hard time sleeping. Now, Katie's words, all of this took place in 1 minute. She said she searched the house, all over the house. And that took place in 1 minute. 1 minute it took her to search her house. Doesn't sound like a whole lot of searching to me. Because I would be tearing things apart in each room. I would be moving beds, pulling things around in the closet, digging into the pantry, pulling stuff out of the way, looking every corner. That takes more than 1 minute. So if she actually looked for this child, it would take her more than a minute. But her words, all of this took place in 1 minute. I searched the house, all over the house. Not going to happen in 1 minute. Unless she didn't search. Did she know that he was not there, so she wasn't going to search? Because 1 minute would not be enough. When asked if Sebastian has done this before, Katie said he was not an eloper. Not an eloper. What a word to use. Olivia asked if they had a theory. Chris pipes up real quickly, saying nothing is eliminated. Then Katie said, anything for me would be he walked outside and went outside of the search area. Why would he go outside of the search area? How would the child know what the search area was? Katie said he was not an eloper, and anything from me would be he went outside, he walked out and outside of the search area. How did Katie know what the search area was going to be? Isn't that strange to say? The search area. Chris said it's crazy. You have a 15-year-old boy and a 22 6-foot tall college kid. They just disappeared. And then he chuckled. He thought that was funny. Now they were talking about hate and people accusing them. Hi, guys. Hi, everybody that's coming in. Thank y'all for being here. I appreciate y'all. We're going over Sebastian's case and things that Katie and Chris have said. So, talking about the hate and all the accusations against them, Chris said parents are looked into. However, all parents have been vetted. How is Katie vetted? I mean, you can vet Seth because he was at work. You can vet Chris because he was at work. But how do you vet Katie? No one saw her at home. How do you vet Katie? She was in the home when Sebastian went missing. How was she vetted? That question to me, I want to know. How is Katie vetted? Who is her witness that says she was not part of this? I want to know. TJ said allegedly there's something going around that Chris might not have been at work. He may got fired before then. Oh, that's interesting. Hi, Joni. I'm too honest for this. Katie is most likely the prime suspect. Yeah. Yes, for sure. I mean, there's no way you can vet her. There's just no way. Hey, Lady 7 Up, thank you for becoming a member. You're so sweet. I'm trying to work on something for my members. So y'all hang tight with me. Things have been crazy. My boss leaves Tuesday, and I have crammed 12 years, almost 13 years worth of info into my head in a week and 3 days. She keeps sending me phone contacts. I swear I have everybody in my county in my phone now. So, but thank you, Lady 7 Up. You're so sweet. Thank you. I appreciate each and every one of y'all for being here. Yeah, I'm too honest. I'm with you on that one. Oh, love you. So, yeah, that pisses me off when Chris is going to sit there and say, we've been vetted. If I'm ever anywhere close to being able to talk to Chris, I'm going to ask him, how was your wife vetted? Let's get down to some hard questions. Who vetted her? Because there wasn't nobody in there, was there? She can't be vetted. Oh, Blue Eyes, you got my shirt. I told her every time she wears it, she has to think of me. Oh, goodness. Um, so yeah, that one really pissed me off when I heard it. I was like, no. Now, talking about Sebastian's behavior and some of his actions, guys, I wrote down word for word. All these are word for word. I have been working on this for 2 weeks because my laptop died. I can't get on and present screen on my tablet. So my laptop is just old. So I have to write it down. But these words are what they used to describe their child. Okay. Smart, goofy, up in your face, aggressive, if upset, emotional because he's a teenager, punch, hit, throw, aggressive stance, won't talk to you anymore, and he growls. Now, the question was talk about his actions and his behaviors. She didn't ask about all of the bad. Oh, Lady 7 Up, thank you. You're so sweet. I appreciate that so much. Mwah, thank you. But yeah, she didn't say talk about how Sebastian acts when he gets all upset. But those were not anything nice. I mean, was Sebastian nice? Was he ever kind? Was he ever sweet or loving? All we know is that he's angry a lot, I guess. That's sad. They have nothing but negative to say about him. It's very, very sad. Now, Smiley, I went to yours next. I hope you don't mind. But the interview on Smiley's with Chris and Katie. Now, Smiley asked Katie, when's the last time Chris saw Sebastian? The 1st of February is what she said. She goes on to explain he works off, and it's impossible to make that drive every day or every weekend. Folks, I'm here to tell you something. He worked 3.5 hours away. My ex-husband, we were married for 32 years. When our kids were little, his goal was to be home every night to tuck them into bed. He worked 3 hours away. He worked all day. He came home. He had time to eat dinner, play with the kids, tuck them into bed, and he went to bed himself because he would have to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to be gone early, to beat traffic, to get to work and do it all over again. That is possible. It happened for several years because we wanted to live where we are currently living and raise the kids and put them in school here, but yet he worked in a big city. It is possible. And he did have opportunity to stay at a friend's that worked in the office, who had a little room above the garage, and there was a bed up there. And sometimes when they had issues with the boats and he had to stay late, he would call, talk to the kids, talk to me, and then he would go stay there. That was very seldom. And he would be home every night and every weekend. It is possible. So don't give me that crap. Smiley asked if Chris talks on the phone with Sebastian while gone. Katie said he does. And that was all. She gives an overload of information about colossal popcorn, whatever kind of pancakes she was making, this, that, and the other, every detail of everything. But that to me was a straight up lie because she had nothing to say. He does. And that was all. Katie said Sebastian had a good bond with both dads. Well, if you had a good bond with Mr. Chris, I would think he wouldn't call him Mr. Chris. I would think he would call him Chris or come up with a new word. But Mr. Chris doesn't sound very loving. Katie said Sebastian will be very upset when he hears how hateful everyone is being towards his parents. He will be distraught. Then she said, but we have to find him first. I understand the child needs to be found. But for a mom to say, he's going to be upset when he finds out how mean everybody's talking to his parents. But we have to find him first. It was like a little kick in the gut kind of thing. That's how I took it. Um, Chris said he is my stepson. He doesn't call me dad. He doesn't call me daddy. He calls me Mr. Chris. And when he said it, it was very matter of fact. Katie says, I think we all should be working together to find Sebastian. Because Sebastian is an awesome person who deserves to be home. He's an awesome person. He's not a super great son, an awesome son. He's an awesome person. Now, you hear on different panels and groups and stuff where they talk about their behavior and their reactions and all that, and talking about being detached. If that's not being detached, I don't know what is. Sebastian is an awesome person. He's not an awesome son, just a person. That made me so mad to hear because When I talk about my son that passed away, I can tell you what an awesome kid he was. He was the most awesome kid in the world. He was my baby. That's what I'm going to tell you about. I'm going to tell you about how smart he was. Not that he was an awesome person. He wasn't just a person. Smiley said Seth told us how the house was pristine except for Sebastian's room. Katie said his room is always messy, especially with Ellie looking through it and myself as I look through things. Chris pipes in, says it doesn't matter to this case if my house is dirty or clean. Well, I beg your pardon, Chris, but yes, it does. It does matter. That child was in that home. If there was a fight, if there was a tussle around in the living room, things got knocked over or whatever, that is important. And actually, as pristine as what the house was, that tells me that there was probably some cleanup done, but it didn't, that wasn't done in Sebastian's room, from what I'm understanding. So he wasn't in his room when anything happened. That's my opinion. Um, let's see. Okay, Chris said Sebastian had a snake, his personal bald python named Brownie. Chris told Sebastian if he stopped taking care of it, it was gone. Then Chris goes on to say he thought I was kidding. Nope, I got rid of them all in Nashville. A good friend of mine in Nashville took them and said Sebastian could come over and see his snake anytime he wanted to. Well, that's a straight up lie. Straight up lie. We've heard from that person who got the snake. He had no clue that he was supposed to keep the snake so that Sebastian could come and talk to his snake and see his snake. He said they had not been back at all. And he did not know Chris. So why lie about that? Chris has to lie about things to make himself look good. That's why. Smiley asked, how did you punish him? Chris says, real quick, that's easy. The punishment has to fit the crime, so to speak. What crime? You know, if there's a crime committed, then the police get involved. If a child is misbehaving, that's a behavioral problem. If a child is doing something wrong and you're trying your best to get them to do what's right, it's not a crime. But to Chris, it's a crime. Why? Why, Chris? Why a crime? Smiley said, did you ever feel like he was a burden in your marriage? Chris, no. The burden, what has always been a struggle, being on the same page with everyone. When we are, it's beautiful. So the struggle was to be on the same page with Seth, is what he meant to say. And when they were on the same page with Seth, it was beautiful. So I could imagine when Seth does what Chris wanted him to do and agreed to it, everything was beautiful. Um, Smiley asked, "Are y'all on the same page?" He said, "We have yet to see. We have yet to see you, Chris, on the same page with anyone." No, that's my thoughts. Sorry, my pen ran out of color. I have my thoughts written down with a different color pen. Sorry. So Chris said, I was raised, you never, I was raised that you never strike a woman. Hmm. But you strike a child? That's okay. But when that child grows up into a woman, you don't strike. Is that the rule? Just wondering, Chris. Chris said, Chris said, fourth ex-wife, Nina. Sometimes we can talk cordial. Sometimes we can't. That's what the courts are there to decide. He said Nina had two other kids. He was very involved with her kids in their lives. I think Chris lives in his own world. I don't know. Smiley said, "Did Sebastian have friends?" Katie said, he struggled with friendships. He gets frustrated. Um, he They were talking about Sebastian, and he liked to dance, and Chris pipes in and says, "What you can call dancing and what I call dancing are totally two different things." And he starts laughing. He's laughing at a child. He's not just laughing on a panel. He's laughing at a child. Um, Smiley asked Katie about the door code. If someone could have got the code, and Katie shut down that question really quick, saying bluntly, "Everyone who has the code to my door has been questioned or interviewed, I think. Everyone has been interviewed." She was real quick to shut down that question. She didn't go into details about who all had the door code. She just said, "Everyone who has my door code has been interviewed." Chris said, "If anyone had the code, you would see a shadow or figure. Something would have been visible to the ring camera across the street." And then Smiley asked, "What made you think he went out the front door?" Katie says, "We presume after process of elimination." Chris, "Nothing with the exterior of our house has been altered." Nothing's been altered outside. So that means he went out the front door. Now, if he went out the back door, would things have been altered? I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me. They're very adamant about that front door. So that tells me he went out a different way. Smiley asked what he was wearing when they went out to eat that night. Chris chuckles. He thought that was funny. Katie said tennis shoes, jeans, black shirt with Grogan on it. Not sure what was so funny about that, Chris. Smiley asked what was on your arms on day 8. Chris, right or left arm? What an asshole. Right or left arm? Does it matter? He knew exactly what she was talking about. He said his Morkie scratched him. Right or left arm? What the hell? Smiley was looking in chat for a question, and Chris chuckled and says, "Give me a good one." He is so cocky, he thinks he is not getting caught on nothing, but yet he doesn't realize he's given himself away every time he opens his mouth and answers a question. He's giving away himself. Smiley said, "What triggered an outburst with Sebastian?" Chris just laughed. What's funny? A child having an outburst? That's very emotional for that child. So why is that so funny? I don't get that. What's so funny about that, Chris? Smiley asked, "Why are you always answering over Katie?" Chris, "Fire away, babe." He had to get in that word. He could not just be silent and let Katie say anything. He had to say something. But that's what a narcissist does. Um, Chris said he got home at 1 p.m. the day that Sebastian went missing. He knew at 6:03 he had a 3.5 hour drive home. That leaves 3.5 hours. Ooh. Doesn't take that long to leave. Why was he not in a hurry to get home to his wife? Why was he not in a hurry to get home and start looking for Sebastian? Hmm? I mean, did it take you 3.5 hours to call someone to take over your job that you weren't doing at 6 o'clock in the morning? And pretty much the rest of us would agree that if a child was missing from my home, I would leave my job no matter what. I wouldn't care. I'd be gone. Smiley asked why they did not go to the vigil at the high school. Chris replied, security reasons. What the hell? Security. Security reasons. Chris goes on and babbles for a while. He has to explain himself to a point where people didn't think that it was bad on them not to go to the vigil. What I don't understand is you can go shopping, you can go to biker rallies, but you can't go to a vigil. You can't show your support. But you, Chris, and you, Katie, said we all need to work together to find Sebastian. I don't think you're going to find him in a motorcycle shop. Smiley asked Katie if there was something about the day she could do over. What would it be? Katie giggles. She giggles and says, I would have slept outside that boy's door. That boy. That boy. Not my baby boy. Not my son. That boy. Once again, separating herself. That boy. And then she says, I promise I'm not laughing. Smiley asked if they checked both vehicles and RVs. Chris said yes. That was it. Yes. We've had all this explanation this whole entire time. And here's Chris blatantly, yes. Makes you wonder. They tell themselves, they tell on themselves, man. They really do. Smiley asked, what are their thoughts? Katie said she can't figure out what happened. She can't figure it out. Chris said the dog's got a scent. They went through the construction zone to the retention pond. They walked it and drained it. The scent stopped there. Well, we have had law enforcement come back out and say there was no scent of Sebastian's that went to the pond. So, Chris asked what he would say, or Chris was asked what he would say about Sebastian, if he could say anything about Sebastian. I want him home. I'm ready to get things normal and get rid of all the chaos. Sebastian knows deep down, he knows. So you want him home because you want to get rid of all the chaos. And Sebastian knows, deep down, he knows. Seriously? You don't want Sebastian to come home because you love and miss him? You just want him to come home to help you out? Once again, typical reply of a narcissist. But I still question, what does Sebastian know? What does he know? What does he know deep down? What does he know? Was he told something before he was taken away? Is that what he knows? Chris was asked, if you could turn back, what would you change about that day? Maybe I could have worked in town. Maybe things would have been different. Maybe we both would have been home. You know, we had Katie say that she would have slept outside the door. We have Chris say maybe he could have worked at home and they could have both been home. And that breaks my heart. Friends, that breaks my heart. It pisses me off because I'm here to tell you, if I could go back to that last day, I would hold my baby boy in my arms and I would never have let him go. He would have never have left the house. He would have never have left. I would have held him tight if I could have went back. And they just don't. They have no thought of holding on to him. No thoughts. None. Sorry, guys. That makes me mad. As a mother, it makes me so mad. There is such a detachment with these parents that is sickening. If I could just go back to that day, that last day I had got to hug my son before he got in his car. I would have never left. I would have never let him go. That that wouldn't have been an option. He would have never left. But here we have two parents that not one of them said, I would have held on to him and never let him go. I would have slept by his door. She's the one that saw him last. And all she's going to do is sleep by his door. It's sick. These parents don't care. Whatever has happened, they are trying to divert away from it. Chris said Sebastian always wanted to be a ninja. He has accomplished it. He just went poof and he was gone. He said this is a case that got all of these agencies stumped, and his 15-year-old boy had done it. The cops will be told him they will be using this case for research and stuff. Why did he just go poof and he was gone? That's the second time I've heard Chris say something like that. There's another interview where he said he walked out that front door onto my front porch and poof, he was gone. I pray that we continue on this case so that Sebastian wins and his parents get what they deserve. And if it comes out that they had nothing at all to do with his disappearance, I hope he doesn't have to go back to that home, because that boy deserves justice. That boy deserves people who care, people who have him in their heart, people that years later will sit here on a live and literally cry tears because he is so missed. That's what he deserves. And he's not getting that. Their answers are so very telling. Their words that they say, their very words that they use have clues in them. We just got to listen to those words. Hey, Brat, Mama Bear, Marilyn, TJ, Susie. Hey, everybody. Thank y'all for being here and hanging in there with me. I know others are going live, but I appreciate y'all so much. And we have to stand strong for Sebastian. We have to. We can't stop, because his mother and his stepfather, they don't care. His stepdad's making prank calls all over YouTube. You don't do that when a child's gone. And it breaks my heart. But we are Sebastian strong. We are Sebastian's army here. We are his friends. And it's up to us. We have to stay strong. We have to stay united. We have to work together. Katie's own words. We have to work together to find Sebastian. But yet she doesn't work well with others. It's sickening. It is so sickening. But it's their words that they speak out of their mouth. And please, please, please go listen to Chronicles of Olivia in her interview. Listen close and listen to those words. Go to Smiley's and listen to her interview with Chris and Katie. Listen to those words and hear the distance in the voices. Hear the giggles, hear the chuckles, hear the laughs. Go listen. Listen with an open heart and open ears, because there's truth in some of their words. But I want to thank you all for staying here tonight with me, hanging out with me for a while. It's been a long time since I've been on. I know. I'll do better. I promise. We'll get together soon. But I'm going to let everybody go and get ready for the next week, and we'll do some more throughout the week. I'm going to work on some stuff for Summer, because we don't want to forget about her as well. But y'all are all so sweet and precious. Everybody have a wonderful week. Everybody have a good Monday. And just remember, y'all are all so special. Y'all are so loved. And I will see you soon. Love and hugs, everybody. Bye.